There is a plant standing at the back corner of my backyard right now, just past the last raised bed, and it is wearing what looks like a big red velvet cone about the size of your forearm. That cone is covered in thousands of fuzzy little berries. Ounce for ounce, those berries have been measured with more vitamin C than the oranges at the grocery store. Steep them in cold water for an afternoon, and you get a drink that tastes so much like pink lemonade that my wife Karen refused to believe I hadn't dumped a powder mix into the jar. The plant asks for nothing. No watering, no feeding, no spraying. It grows wild along roadsides and fence lines across almost every state in this country, completely free. So why do people take a chainsaw to it the moment it shows up on their property? Two reasons, and one of them is a case of mistaken identity that has scared folks off for 100 years. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what this plant is, how to tell it apart from its dangerous cousin in about 5 seconds, and how to turn it into the best free drink of your summer. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the flavor in those berries is not where you think it is. It is not inside the berry at all. Once you know where that flavor actually lives, every rule I give you today will suddenly make perfect sense, including the strange one about rain. I'm Steve Calloway. I have been growing food in the same Midwest backyard for more than 20 years, running side-by-side test beds and writing down what actually happened. My first garden was a jungle of green that gave me about a dozen sad tomatoes all summer, so I know exactly what guesswork costs. My wife Karen keeps the harvest log with me. And yes, the sumac drink went into the log this year. The plant I'm talking about is called staghorn sumac. Say it with me, sumac. There is also a close relative called smooth sumac, and everything I teach today works for both. You have seen this plant 1,000 times without knowing it. It lines the highways of Ohio and Michigan. It fills the sunny corners of old farm fields in Pennsylvania. It stands along chain-link fences behind grocery stores in Minnesota. Every July and August, it raises those deep red cones straight up into the air like torches. And every year, homeowners across the country cut it down, poison it, and haul it to the brush pile. Meanwhile, those same homeowners are driving to the store to buy lemonade powder and vitamin C tablets. The garden doesn't lie, and neither does the math on that one. Now, the fear comes from the name because there is a plant called poison sumac, and it is genuinely nasty. The killing comes from the spreading because staghorn sumac travels underground and shows up where nobody planted it. We are going to deal with both, honestly, one at a time. And keep that question about where the flavor lives in the back of your mind, because it also explains why some folks try this drink once, swear it tastes like nothing at all, and give up on it forever. Now, before we walk out to that fence line, let me tell you where today's method comes from. Everything I test in this backyard eventually gets written down, and the full system lives in a book I put together called Steve's 30-Day Maximum Yield Protocol. It is the exact 30-day system I follow in my own garden to roughly double what every plant produces, written out day by day for home gardeners who want significantly more food from the space they already have. No extra square footage, no expensive equipment. It works in raised beds, in-ground plots, and containers, and it covers the big 7 yield killers. The diagnostic framework I use to find what is holding a garden back, plus feeding for fruit instead of foliage, the strategic pruning that feels wrong but multiplies production, and the companion and succession planting systems with the science behind each one. It is 115 pages, and it costs $17 right now, marked down from $47. $17 against a garden that pays for itself in a single good tomato week. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, grab your walking shoes because now we settle the poison question for good. Let's put the fear to bed first, because you cannot enjoy a glass of anything while you're worried about it. Poison sumac is real. It is in the same family as poison ivy, and touching it will give you a rash you will remember. But telling the two plants apart is easier than telling a tomato from a potato. And here is the 5-second version. Staghorn sumac carries bright red berries. Poison sumac carries white berries, sometimes pale green, never red. Staghorn sumac holds its berry cones straight up, pointing at the sky like a candle flame. Poison sumac lets its berries hang down in loose, droopy clusters like tiny grapes. So the whole test fits in one sentence. Red and reaching up means good. White and hanging down means walk away. Red and up, good. White and down, walk away. That rule alone protects you, but I will stack two more on top of it because I like a margin of safety in everything I test. Number 2 is where the plant lives. Poison sumac grows in one kind of place only, and that is wet ground. Swamps, bogs, the mucky edge of a pond, standing water. It will not grow on a dry, sunny roadside or a well-drained hillside, and those dry, sunny spots are exactly where staghorn sumac thrives. If you're standing on dry ground in the sunshine, you're not looking at poison sumac. Number 3 is the stems, and this one gave staghorn sumac its name. Run your eyes along the young branches of a staghorn sumac and you will see a coat of soft fuzz like velvet. Old-timers thought it looked like a deer's antlers in early summer when the antlers are covered in velvet, a stag's horn. That fuzz is your friend. Poison sumac stems are smooth and hairless, so there is your full identification kit. Red cones standing up, dry, sunny ground, fuzzy velvet stems. 3 checks, 5 seconds each. One honest caution before we pick anything, though. Sumac belongs to the cashew family, along with mangoes. If you or anyone drinking this has a serious cashew or mango allergy, sit this one out. That's a small group of people, but I would rather say it plainly than skip it, so now you can find it and you can trust it. The next question is when to pick it, and this is where most first-timers go wrong, before they ever get a cone home. The cones ripen in the middle of summer, usually mid-July into August, across most of the Midwest, a little earlier in the South. You're looking for a deep, saturated red, the color of a brick that has been rained on. A pale pinkish cone is not ready yet, and it will steep up weak. But color is only the first check, because the real test costs you nothing. Walk up to the cone. Press one fingertip against the berries, then touch that fingertip to your tongue. If the cone is ready, you will get a bright, sour, mouth-watering jolt, like licking a sour candy. That sourness is the whole game. No sour on your finger means no lemonade in your jar, no matter how red it looks. Now here comes the strange rule I hinted at in the beginning. Never harvest sumac in the 2 or 3 days after a good rain. I mean that literally. A stand of sumac that tasted like sour candy on Tuesday can taste like plain water on Thursday if a storm rolled through Wednesday night. Hold that thought about the rain because it is the whole reason this works, and I promise the answer is coming before we are done. For now, just follow the rule. Wait for a dry stretch, 3 or 4 rainless days, then go picking. When you find a ready cone, take a pair of pruning shears and cut the whole cone off where its stem meets the branch. Do not pluck berries one by one. You will be there until October. One more rule about location. Skip the cones growing within a few feet of a busy road because road spray and county herbicide crews get to those first. Walk 20 or 30 feet back from the pavement, or better yet, harvest from a fence line, a field edge, or your own property. For 1 gallon of finished drink, you want 8 good cones. 8 cones, 1 gallon. Write that down. Here is where we turn a weed into a pitcher of pink lemonade, and I want you to follow this slowly with me, because the method has almost no steps, and every one of them matters. First, look over your 8 cones and pick out any leaves, stems, or the occasional freeloading bug. Do not rinse the cones. I will say that again, because it goes against every kitchen instinct you have. Do not rinse them, not even a quick pass under the faucet. The reason is the same reason as the rain rule, and it is waiting for you at the end of this video. Second, get 1 gallon of cold water into a big pitcher or a clean pot. Cold water straight from the tap or the fridge, not warm, not hot, and absolutely never boiling. Third, break each cone apart with your hands right over the water. Snap it into chunks and drop them in. Fourth, reach into the water and squeeze the berry clusters. Rub them between your fingers under the surface for a good 2 or 3 minutes. You will feel the berries rough against your skin, and you will watch the water start blushing pink almost immediately. That is the moment Karen came over to look at the jar, by the way. Fifth, walk away. Let the whole thing steep at room temperature for about 4 hours, or cover it and put it in the refrigerator overnight if you want it stronger. 4 hours minimum. Overnight is better. Sixth, and do not skip this one, strain it twice. The first pass goes through a regular kitchen strainer or a layer of cheesecloth to catch the berries and stems. The second pass goes through a paper, coffee filter, or a tightly woven cloth. That second pass matters because sumac berries are covered in very fine hairs, and while they are harmless in the plant's family history, they are scratchy on the throat, and the coffee filter takes every last one out. So, Quick recap before we sweeten anything. 8 cones, no rinsing, 1 gallon of cold water. Break, rub for 3 minutes. Steep 4 hours or overnight, strain twice. 7th, sweeten it. Start with half a cup of sugar for the gallon, stir until it dissolves and taste. Half a cup. Some folks like it closer to a full cup, more like the lemonade at a county fair. Pour it over ice, and what you're holding is a rosy pink glass of the most surprising drink this country grows for free. Now, let me give you the 2 bonus facts, because this plant is not a one-trick pony. The first is the vitamin C. Those berries have been measured weight for weight with more vitamin C than an orange. I'm not going to turn that into a health lecture because I am a gardener and not a doctor, and food is food. But if you like knowing that your free fence line lemonade brings real nutrition along with the flavour, there it is, and it is a fact that surprises almost everyone I tell. The second bonus is already sitting in some of your kitchens. If you have ever eaten at a Middle Eastern restaurant and noticed a deep red tangy spice dusted over the chicken or the salad, that spice is sumac. The same plant family sold in jars at the store for $6 or $7 a piece. You can make your own by drying ripe cones in a warm, airy spot for a week or 2, rubbing the berries loose and grinding them. Sprinkle it on grilled chicken, on cucumbers, on rice. Karen logged that experiment too, and the jar from our fence line ran out before the store-bought one did, which tells you which one the family reached for. That brings us back to the question in the title, because we have proven this plant is safe to identify, free to harvest, and genuinely good. So why do people still kill it on site? Reason 1, we already handled. The word sumac scares people who have only ever heard it next to the word poison, and 100 years of that reflex does not disappear overnight. Reason 2 is fair, and I will not pretend otherwise. Staghorn sumac spreads. It sends runners out underground, the same way raspberries do, and a single plant at the corner of a lot can become a small grove in 5 or 6 years if nobody's paying attention. Landscapers call it a trash tree for exactly that reason. But here is what I have found managing the stand behind my own back fence for years. A lawnmower is a complete fence for this plant. Every runner that pops up in mowed grass gets cut off at the knees week after week, and it gives up. So the whole management plan is one sentence. Let it have a corner you do not mow, and mow everything around that corner like you normally would. That is it. In exchange, you get a native North American plant, one of the few on this list that was here before any of us, that asks for 0 water and 0 fertilizer, blazes bright red foliage every October, and holds those berry cones all winter as emergency food for bluebirds, robins, and about 90 other bird species. Same corner of the yard, same effort, completely different result. And now I owe you the answer I have been promising since the first minute, because it ties every rule in this video into one clean picture. The sour, lemony flavor of sumac does not live inside the berry. There is barely anything inside those berries but a hard little seed. The flavor lives on the outside as a natural coating on those thousands of tiny fuzzy hairs covering each berry. That coating is mostly malic acid, the exact same acid that makes a green apple make your mouth water. And malic acid dissolves in water almost instantly. Now watch everything click into place. Why does rain ruin a harvest? Because a storm literally washes the lemonade off the plant, coating by coating, and it takes days of dry weather for the plant to build it back. Why did I forbid you from rinsing the cones in the sink? Same reason. 10 seconds under the faucet sends your flavor down the drain before it ever meets your pitcher. Why does the fingertip lick test work? Because you are lifting a little of that surface coating straight onto your tongue. Why cold water? And why does rubbing the berries underwater matter? Because cold water dissolves that outer acid coating completely, which is all you want while your hands speed it along. And why never hot water? When every instinct says to brew it like tea, because heat reaches past the coating into the seeds and stems and pulls out tannins, the harsh, bitter, mouth-drying stuff you taste in oversteeped black tea. Cold water takes only the lemonade and leaves the bitterness locked inside. The folks who tried sumac once and said it tasted like nothing picked after a rain or rinsed their cones. The folks who said it tasted bitter brewed it hot. They did not have a bad plant. They had the right plant and the wrong mechanism. And now you have both. And that is exactly the kind of thing my whole protocol is built on. Tested, cheap, and explained, so you know the why and not just the steps. Steve's 30-day maximum yield protocol works the same way on your tomatoes, your peppers, and your squash. Day by day for 30 days, and at $17 instead of $47, it costs less than 3 of those little jars of store-bought sumac spice while it goes to work, roughly doubling what every plant in your garden hands you. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So there it is. The plant people kill on site turned into a gallon of pink lemonade with 8 cones, cold water, and a coffee filter. Tell me in the comments whether you have sumac growing near you and whether you have ever worked up the nerve to taste it. I read every single one. Next time, I'm going to show you the $2 kitchen shelf powder I ran head-to-head against the name brand tomato fertilizer in my side-by-side beds, and exactly how many more pounds of tomatoes came off the cheap side because the number surprised even Karen. Get out there and get your hands dirty, and I'll see you in the garden.